And Volodymyr Zelensky has accused some Arab leaders of turning a blind eye to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Ukrainian president made the comments while attending the Arab League summit in Saudi Arabia on Friday. Several Arab nations have sought to maintain good relations with Russia despite its attack against Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky says some states must reflect on their ties with Russia, emphasizing that there are some nations who still turn a blind eye to the prisoner of war issue on illegal annexations. The Saudi Arabian leader, Mansour bin Zayed, pledged the UAE's unwavering support for peace and dialogue, an essential element for achieving a sustainable political solution to the war in Ukraine. Let's talk this through by talking to a Global Affairs Analyst joining me from Indianapolis, USA, for an analysis of the G7 summit, Kunle Falowo. Thank you so much for joining us on World Now. Moscow, definitely, what do you make of the Ukrainians, what's it called, Zelensky's dramatic appearance in Japan during the G7 summit? What message do you think is trying to pass with that?
Thanks for having me. So it's pretty interesting to see that Vladimir Zelensky, Ukrainian president, was able to make it in person to the G7 summit in Japan. It's quite significant to say. There were speculations initially that he was going to join virtually, which would be okay by the existential threat that was going on. But unfortunately, the naysayers had felt like he would be intimidated by, going out of Ukraine and going all the way to Japan to in person to, be present at the meeting of the G7 world, 7 rich countries. It's interesting to note that as a precautionary measure, it was President Macron official carrier from France that took the Ukrainian president to Japan. It wasn't the Ukrainian aircraft. So, that would have, escalated tensions between France and Russia if anything had happened or if it had been attacked. So it was a good outing for him because he was able to talk to all and solicit support from the G7 rich countries in a bid to continue to try and solicit support and armory and all the necessary weapons that they'll need to continue to fight for the territorial integrity of Ukraine.
So how significant do you think is it for Ukraine to have the support of the G7 leaders in addressing the challenges posed by Russia and China?
Oh, it is very, very, existentially important that he gets the support of all the G7 nations because they are rich nations. Not only do these nations have the finances and the know-how to help Ukraine beat and defeat Russia, they also are able to sanction Russia for what it's doing in Ukraine. So it is very essential that he gets the unwavering support and he continues to get the commitments to making sure that they support him till a logical conclusion is arrived upon on the war. It's very essential that he continues to get their support.
So, what do you believe will be the impact of the G7? The impact of G7 leaders, taking aim at Russia and China on Ukraine's, especially geopolitical position and security.
So great. So now that we've seen that the UK Prime Minister and other countries have intensified their efforts to make sure that Ukrainians get F-16 fighter jets. That is going to be another, interesting, measure that's going to be taken, and that will help the Ukrainians defend their brothers in arms when they're fighting on the land. So that will also strengthen their air capabilities and to also make sure that they continue to defend their territory. Having said that, it is also essential. We're seeing that uh, world leaders standing strong against the uh, apprehension and the harsh uh, uh, harsh stance that Russia is taking against Ukraine, and vis-a-vis we're talking about the war. Uh, some other precautionary measures that have been taken again is some of the sanctions that have put on the financial system of Russia, and also coming together to tell Russia that they are the aggressor and they need to, withdraw their people, and they need to withdraw their arms and ammunition away from Ukraine. So, in solidarity, it's saying that the world is standing for Ukraine and with Ukraine, and they're trying to tell Russia and China, by the way, that they're not welcomed in whatever they're doing to Ukraine.
So, very quickly, in your opinion, what role do you think Ukraine play in the global political landscape, and how does its participation in events like the G Summit, contribute to that particular role that you think?
Yeah, if you think about the G7 nations, you'll observe that they're all democratic countries, and one of the hallmark of this is the territorial integrity of Ukraine, first of all, and then secondly, it's a fight for the European allied countries, and also a fight for democratic governance in Ukraine. So, in order for smaller countries like Ukraine to stand strong, and in order for bigger countries like the Japan of this world, the United Nations, United Kingdom, and the United States, and France and Italy and the other countries, they need to show that they support democratic governance, and they will kick against any potential country that tends to bully other little countries into submission. And that's what Russia is doing against Ukraine. So it's appointed to say that the world is indeed fighting and rooting for the democratic governance. It doesn't matter if it's in Ukraine. And then if you look at Ukraine, for instance, it's in the heart of Europe. And then if Russia is able to defeat Ukraine and get away with whatever it is that they're doing, it means it's going to open another set of conflict around the world, meaning that some other countries will make this as a case study and do exactly what Russia is doing. So this is a testament to show that things like this will not be tolerated among the international community.
No doubt. There is no disputing the fact that the Russia-Ukraine war is having a lot of ripple effects in the global space and some other countries around the world. Right. So from Indianapolis is Global Affairs Analyst Kunle Falowo. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Pleasure.